Okay, so thanks for tuning in. This is IsPalindrome. A palindrome is basically taking a sentence and it reads the same forwards or backwards, like race car, and whether it's forwards or backwards, it's a palindrome. Same thing with madam, I'm Adam, and then another example here is true grit. So this function here is taking in an argument, which is a palindrome or a potential palindrome, and it's just going to be, basically a phrase or a sentence. And so we're considering this a string, so that's the parameter that we're looking at. So I just specify as the string type. You can call it whatever you want. I'm just calling it a string. This makes it easier. So let's take the string and we're going to convert it into an array, and we're going to make it all lowercase so that it's easier to work with. And so we'll say lowercase array. So string dot to lowercase, and then dot split. The split method will turn the string into an array in each character. I'll show you what that looks like. So every character in the sentence here is essentially an element in the array, including a space. So we want to take the space out, and to do that, let's create a new array, and lowercase array dot filter. This is an ES6 method for arrays. And what it's going to do is it's going to look at each element in the array, and it's going to do an evaluation. So let's just throw this doodad in there so you can see what that looks like. And so each element here, just to show you, is a string. And so we're going to do a matching. We're going to use a string method called match, which is going to look at each element and it's going to do an evaluation. So this is a regex expression. We're going to say A through Z. Look at each character, and if it is not a punctuation or a space, then return it, because the filter is going to return an array that matches a truthy value. So it does this evaluation. If it's true, it's going to return it into a new array. Otherwise, it'll return just like an empty array. Okay? So we're going to return this new array. It's going to look like this. See, it's an empty thing right here. Why is it empty? Because we have to actually return the evaluation here within the filter, because it's a method. Okay, so there it is. Everything is true. It's taken out the space now. And so just quickly, with regex, this is a nice site here called regexer.com. Okay, and in there you could run experiments and tests. If you go to the left here, you'll see there's a cheat sheet. You just have to screw around with the different character classes, they call it, or anchors, or just the different rules that you could use to run your tests. I don't want to do a regex class, but basically use this site to screw around and see what works. In this case, if it highlights each character, then we know that it's a truthy value. Okay. So now we're going to return a new array, which we're going to then convert back into a string using the join method, and we're going to evaluate that against the new array dot reverse, which is a method that could be used for arrays. It's going to just turn the array in the reverse, and then we're going to turn that into a string, like so. So we're going to get a Boolean here. It's just going to be a comparison between these two values, and if it's a palindrome, it'll return true. Same thing with madam, I'm Adam. It's going to take out the punctuation, the spaces, and it'll look at it and it'll see if it's true or false. And with true grit as well, which is not a palindrome, so it's false. So now we know Everything's working the way it's supposed to. So, before we go, there's the matter of cleaning up some of this code. You may know this already, you may not, but if you take out the squiggly brackets, because let's say you have like a single line of code that you're doing your evaluation, you don't need to use a return word. It is automatically going to return what it's evaluating. So you'll see that it works just like it did before. And now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to clean up some of this here, because these methods could be chained together. So we're going to chain the filter now with split, like so. Just move it over so it's easier to read. Okay, and I'll just rename this to new array, and the same thing will happen. It'll just work. True grit, false. Okay, so that's it. I mean, you know, spend some time with this regex site and screw around with, you know, the different commands so you could learn, and just understand that, you know, match is a method that's used for string evaluation. It's a method in strings. You could just like Google it and JS string match, and look, there it is. And it, you know, takes in this like regex expression. Here it's looking at A to Z, all the capital letters, and it's doing a match on this sentence, looking for all capitals. So it returns a T and it returns an I, which is right here. Okay, so that's like one little tricky part, is just becoming more adverse. More proficient with working with regex. And here's just like a boolean that we're returning. It's just doing this evaluation, just taking this array, turning it into a string, taking the same array and reversing it first, and then turning it into a string, and it's just doing a comparative against the two. Okay, so thanks for tuning in. This is a fun little algorithm, good for messing around with arrays and learning ES6 and regex and stuff. Okay, till next time, thank you.